The year 2026 decided not to waste any time and began right away with a powerful operation by American troops in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. Right now, you can see on your screens footage from Caracas that was published by many media outlets and quickly spread across numerous Telegram channels. This is one of the explosions that marked the beginning of this special operation. The soldiers accomplished their main task, taking the president of Venezuela hostage with unprecedented speed. Just a few hours after the first missile was launched, Nicolas Maduro and his wife were brought to New York, where he was formally charged. In the United States, the Venezuelan tyrant, as Donald Trump calls him, is charged with conspiracy to commit narcoterrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, possession of automatic weapons and destructive devices, as well as conspiracy to possess automatic weapons and destructive devices against the United States of America. However, aside from his involvement in drug related activities, Nicolas Maduro is also known for his sympathy toward the Russian government, with which Venezuela has maintained close contact for more than 10 years. As journalists report, the relationship between Caracas and Moscow was multifaceted, and in addition to friendly ties and oil extraction, included the supply of weapons of mass destruction. Yulia Yarmolenko. What does this mean, and what was Putin hiding from Trump in Venezuela? So I'll tell you all about this next. Hello everyone, my name is Anastasiia Husarieva, and while you like this video and subscribe to our channel, I'll tell you all the details of the Venezuelan operation. And together, we'll try to figure out what Maduro really hid and what Putin was supplying him with. So let's get started. A special place in the relationship between Moscow and Caracas was occupied by military cooperation. In November 2025, journalists reported new deliveries of Russian weapons to Venezuela. The military portal Militarny reported that Russia had supplied the country with Pantsir S-1 anti-aircraft missile and gun systems, which had not previously been in service with the Venezuelan army. The report appeared against the backdrop of escalating tensions between Caracas and Washington and immediately drew the attention of analysts. The information about ongoing arms deliveries was confirmed by Russian Deputy Alexei Zhuravlyov. He publicly stated that Russia remains Venezuela's key military technical partner and continues to supply it with a full range of weaponry, from small arms to combat aircraft. Zhuravlyov specifically noted that the volume and nomenclature of these deliveries are classified. According to him, the Americans might be in for some surprises, which was perceived as a hint at the hidden aspects of this very cooperation. Zhuravlyov also confirmed the transfer to Venezuela of several divisions of S-300VM anti-aircraft missile systems, Anti-2500, as well as Buk M2E and Panzer S-1 complexes. He did not specify the exact number of combat vehicles or the timeline for their deployment. The authors of the Militarny portal noted that the S-300VM systems we are talking about, as well as the Buk M2E, had already been in service with the Venezuelan army before, whereas the Pantsir S-1 was received by the country for the first time. At the same time, the journalists emphasized an important point. Putting such systems into full combat operation requires extensive training of personnel. Usually, this process takes much longer than the current phase of confrontation between Caracas and Washington. On this basis, the authors suggested that the new systems may be under the control of Russian specialists or mercenaries. In particular, representatives of the Wagner PMC were mentioned, whose presence in Venezuela had been previously documented. Additional attention from analysts was drawn by reports of the arrival in Caracas of a Russian Il-76 military transport aircraft, which is on the sanctions list. Experts recalled that such aircraft had previously been used to transport weapons, military equipment, and mercenaries from the same Wagner group, who operated in Russia's interests in various regions of the world. Against this backdrop, it became known in July that the first phase of a plant for the production of 7.62mm cartridges for Kalashnikov rifles was launched in Venezuela. The production capacity of the enterprise is estimated at up to 70 million rounds per year. The plant was built by Rosoboronexport, a company that is part of the state corporation structure. The first phase includes 4 production lines. 2 are intended for the production of cartridges with a steel core, and the other 2 for cartridges with tracer bullets. Rostec's executive director Oleg Yevtushenko stated that the remaining production facilities are scheduled to be launched in the near future. According to him, this will make it possible to establish a full production cycle of cartridges and Kalashnikov AK-103 rifles directly on the territory of Venezuela. The weapons are intended to be used by the army, police, and other security forces of the country. On November 5th, Russia also announced that it had delivered Pantsir S-1 and Buk M-2E air defense systems to Caracas on an Il-76 transport aircraft. At the same time, a warning was issued to the United States about the readiness to send modern Oreshnik ballistic missiles, capable of carrying nuclear warheads as well as Caliber cruise missiles to the region. These statements were accompanied by references to satellite images, which were claimed to confirm the deployment of Bukem 2E systems in the Caracas area. The same Oleksiy Zhuravlyov stated at the time that the Kremlin had sent modern weaponry to the Caribbean and saw no obstacles to supplying Venezuela with new solutions, including Oreshnik hypersonic missiles and Caliber missiles, which, according to the Russian side, are impossible to intercept. At the same time, the Security Service of Ukraine expressed doubts about Russia's ability to deliver such advanced systems to the Caribbean region. The head of the Security Service of Ukraine, Vasyl Malyuk, stated that since the beginning of 2025, nearly half of the Russian Pantsir systems, which were likely already in Venezuela, have been destroyed. He also noted that in order to transport systems like the Oreshnik or Caliber across the Atlantic, Russia would have to use a heavy AN-124 Ruslan aircraft, which is easy to detect and could become a target for American missiles. Amid growing pressure, Nicolas Maduro, according to the Washington Post, turned to Russia for military assistance. He requested additional air defense systems and at least 14 missile complexes. Similar requests, it was reported, were also sent to China and Iran. The military portal Defense Express compared what is happening to the Soviet Operation Anadyr of 1962. At that time, the Soviet Union secretly deployed more than 40 ballistic missile launchers and about 40,000 military personnel in Cuba. The United States responded with a naval blockade of the island and forced Soviet ships to turn back. At the same time, the United States was increasing its military presence in the Caribbean basin. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Purnell reported that the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, has left the Mediterranean Sea and is crossing the Atlantic. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov called such activity unjustified and said it creates tension in the region, while failing to mention the supply of Russian military equipment to the Maduro regime. Later, US President Donald Trump stated in an interview with CBS that the days of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro are numbered. When asked about the possibility of war, he said he doubted such a scenario and was not considering direct military confrontation. He also noted that Venezuela treats the United States very poorly, mentioning drug smuggling and illegal migration. Commenting on the deployment of an aircraft carrier, Trump said that it has to be somewhere, giving an evasive answer to suggestions about preparations for a large-scale operation. It is also worth recalling that in October, Nicolas Maduro announced the deployment of 5,000 Russian-made Igla-S anti-aircraft missiles at key air defense positions. He claimed that these systems are stationed throughout the entire country. CNN noted that it could not independently verify the stated number, but asserts that the Igla-S systems are indeed part of Venezuela's arsenal, according to data from the International Institute for Strategic Studies. Despite numerous statements about being armed and ready for defense, the operation to capture Nicolas Maduro proceeded quickly and with virtually no resistance. This cast doubt on the actual state of the Venezuelan regime's defense capabilities and the effectiveness of the years-long military technical cooperation so frequently touted by officials. Or perhaps Maduro's capture was arranged from the very beginning? Share your thoughts with us in the comments, and we will definitely read them and perhaps discuss them with you in our upcoming broadcasts. That's all we want to tell you for now about the Venezuelan operation and the capture of Nicolas Maduro. And as soon as there are any updates, of course, we will let you know right away. Subscribe, leave a comment, give us a like, and we'll see you in the next broadcasts. My name is Anastasiia Husarieva. Take care of yourselves and wash your hands with soap. Bye-bye, everyone.